I guess this game doesn't total itself when we start recording. Here we are. What are we doing? We're headed that way or that way. Either one. I don't think it really matters. Alright, we're gonna continue the forest. This is normal progression. Alright, let's see if I'm a G or not. Never mind, I don't have, I should have used. Alright, well we're just out here doing wonderfully. Might be able to do
lively times these.
These are lovely times indeed. Pretty fast. So we can hit that lizard. While I'm here, I might as well show you guys that. I think you gotta have that, dude. Die for the first time, so we're not getting that achievement. I like the game without dying. The worst part is we did it to ourselves. Why is he charging? Well, we didn't quite get there because we have charging. But there are items down here. So I would continue to just absolutely murder myself, but yeah, I don't think I have a reason to do that, nor do I have the item to help me with that. I forgot what it is. Anyway, we're not collecting those souls back. Come on, I know the one on the ground is real too. I know he's real. Don't play with me like that. I can see him moving. So anyway, I heard something while watching a Linus Tech Tips video the other day, and I wanted to discuss it. He was talking about the future of the gaming industry, and basically what's going to be good, what's not going to be good anymore. And how some companies, basically it's their funding that's causing them, and I think I discussed this in a previous video as well. It's just so imperative that we discuss it as a gaming community. But basically, where games get their funding from is going to determine if they're going to be good in the future or not. it's not going to be necessarily, oh, do they have a good team? Do they have good people on the team anymore? It's going to be who funds these projects. Because certain loans being given out has certain criteria people have to meet. Contracts, fulfillment, dates, things like that. And this isn't like a new thing. Like, we've known, like, that's how contracted work. So I'm saying like a lot, but I'm kind of trying to use fill words so I can put my thoughts together while I play Dark Souls, because this isn't the easiest game in the world. And so what we're going to end up with is a game, or is games where things are funded maybe not the best way that they possibly could be. And they're going to end up with qualifications and things that they have to meet, like E-ratings and quotas for advertisements, where advertisers are now deciding, oh, this is what can be in the game and not. It's basically just becoming advertisement material, if that makes sense. And so while we enjoy a nice game, they're basically being used in AAA titles to say, oh, well, we know a bunch of people are going to buy this, let's advertise inside of it. And I think that's going to be what happens to GTA as well. I'm an idiot. I'm such an idiot. And I think we're going to start to see games like Larian Studios, who's producing Fable. I think that's going to be phenomenal because it's crowdsourced. And it's gonna basically gonna be, what do the people funding the game want it to be? And it's no longer, is this game going to be a good game? And is it going to sell a lot? It's going to be, what is the advertisement worth, right? Because Dragon Age Veilguard was one of the biggest flops in the world, except it kind of wasn't, because they had so much advertisement value from other things. And it did flop. It flopped so hard. There's such a money loss. They were basically thinking about just shutting down everything. And admitting that you're not making DLCs for this is kind of heartbreaking. But at the same time, I understand. Like, you can't continue to put money into something that nobody wants. And so, like, I'm not mad at them for doing what they're doing, right? I can't be mad at them. But like, I just want to emphasize how important it's going to be see games funded from different sources. And to not necessarily say, oh, this studio is gigantic, this game is going to be great, because that's just not something that you can tie together anymore. Instead, you're going to have to be like, oh, this is going to be good because it was sponsored by people that want it to be good, not by people that want me to buy a specific thing or participate in a specific thing. Rose body. Jesus. And I think it's really important to recognize that going forward. Yeah, okay. Just trying to souls me, I guess. Souls me up, Scotty.
Oh, my name. When? But. Wait.
Yes, maps to Drangleic Castle.
Yeah. What if.
Thanks for the key to the
Oh.
mansion,
No.
bum. Yeah, something about going to Majula soon. Which is conveniently where we're going to be headed back to. And if you're a G, you can jump across this. I just lied to you. You can't do that. That's not a thing. Going that way probably isn't a thing either. My safest bet is more than likely just popping this or reversing where I came from. But we have 9 of these, so we're just gonna toodaloop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might be able to get it with the magic urns. Nah, I don't think you can get it with the magic urn. I think you need the fire urn.
I knew.
Yes, lady. Give me 3. Why not? Let's try it. Thanks, lady. Where are our fire bombs? There are. Alright, do we toss over here? Yeah, try to destroy over here. Maybe it's over here. Alright, we're just gonna run around and grab it. I was trying to do the cheese, but we don't need to do the cheese. But anyway, I think funding is going to be very important. Just emphasizing that again. I think the ability for great games to be made is going to, we're going to see drastic changes in just the way, the ability, how things are run, all kinds of stuff here soon. And I actually think it's a good thing. Hey, look, found a shortcut. So I'm extremely excited for some future aspects of gaming come to light, and for others, like what NVIDIA is doing with proprietary software and monopolization. I am excited to see if those things are going to die, because I would really like to see those specific things die. I don't think that it's fair, and I don't think it bodes well for the consumer when we don't have an open market availability for everything. Alright. That's awesome. I don't hear anybody knocking back a bow on me, so. Great soul arrow. Good pickup, good pickup. Could use that. Yeah, I think it'll go really well for some future people and not so well for others, so to speak. I don't even think we have one of those. Yeah, we don't even have a lockstone yet. Otherwise, I think it's right here. Yeah. Not a mimic. A trap. Not really worth it. So I think that this is around the area you get Chloranthy, if I remember correctly. I think I might have to have that Pharaoh's door open. I also kind of remember, I think, where Chloranthy 2 is, but we gotta get to the Scorpion Najika, whom would look better with the reskin, but we're not gonna mod the playthrough. Hey, Bait, come over here. Punish troll spammers heavily.
Well, I hope you have a very good reason. Oh, hogwash. My name is Pate. I journey hither and thither on a... Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandit. Oh, yes. There's treasure in there for sale. I saw the same design earlier. I was with this warrior, you see, and he insisted that he go inside first. The rather brusque fellow tried to swipe the loot for himself. I still have the gent's ring. I'll leave this one to you. I'll leave this one.
I feel like that's a lie, and he's like this game's version of Patches. He killed that poor man. He did. Alright, so this is going to be a split episode because I noticed something I need to take care of. So it will be edited, and when we come back, we will do more. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Alright. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for participating in that cut with me. Here we go. And back down to the end. I cannot hold your knee. Alright, that's a trap that leads back around to that door that we saw. Chucking firebombs. Alright, this area is kind of filled with enemies, but not so much. So I wanted to take a moment. We touched on funding, we touched on the new GPUs recently. Let's touch on something else. Oh, there's a trap. Well, we could talk about getting your games cheaper. So if you guys aren't aware, Steam offers quite a lot of deals all the time. But here's the thing, even with those deals being offered, sometimes, you know, it's only like 10 or 20%, but somewhere else like Epic will have it at like 80% a couple weeks ago or whatever, you just missed it. Well, there's a way around that. So there's this great website called CD Keys. And you're basically forfeiting your right to a refund because you're buying a key to a game instead of buying a game. But if you already know you like the game, it's definitely worth checking out. And if you're not sure if you like the game, you can buy the game, play it for 2 hours on Steam. If you don't like it, return it before the 2-hour mark. And yeah, just go buy it from CD Keys for cheaper when you have actual enough money to do so. I think this is a great way to go about things for people who have an account and just maybe you're not working, or you know, you're just not, your income's a little low right now. Maybe you are in a country where income is an issue. You just don't have a lot of it. I think Americans, up until these last few years, we've had it pretty good with the way our monetary system works. I think with the way it's been messed up since 2020, we shouldn't expect much from it. I think around 2020 they began fabricating numbers to lie to us about how good the economy or poor the economy was actually doing. And I don't think we've got an accurate representation of how the economy's been doing since the start of COVID. That's a whole nother thing, and everybody's like, oh, well, you should consider other people's views around the world, but like other people, their countries aren't sustaining the world economy. So, I mean, I think when we discuss things like that, you have to take into account that like maybe like we consume a lot of goods and services at a very high price point. And I think it's just gotten so used to everybody just paying that price point that everybody's just kind of taking advantage of it at this point. And now a certain group of people know that they're no longer going to be able to do that for much longer. And so now they're finding other ways to get rid of money, like say the laundering that we're experiencing in our video games. Which that's a whole different issue that relates to basically just giant scales of money laundering and other things. And not great characteristics. Bye, have a nice time, guy. I don't know, companies will continue to be companies, and they will continue to get away with anything that can make them money as long as they can possibly do it. See, I keep losing my control ability for 2 or 3 seconds at a time. I'm not sure what that's about. I definitely don't want to take the giant with this as an equip. I'm not sure I want to experience that guy. I will be fine if we die, it's fine. We're not going very far. Hey, turtle. Turtle man, and I think he's gonna fight a long, long time. Turtle man. Anyway, fire, rest. Oh, lady. I think we have enough sitting around that we could probably get a leveler, so let's just go take care of that. Maybe attune some spells before we get moving again. But yeah, I think what we're experiencing in video games right now
Is that a ship?
basically
Here, to see light.
large-scale money
However,
laundering. Basically, the company knowingly that they're going to make a trash game saying, hey, give me a couple $100 million. And the banks are like, oh, well, the last game did great, why would we not do that? But you have to meet these conditions because we're giving you the loan. And the companies know, they're like, well, we can't make a good game with these conditions. So instead of just trying anyway, what you end up with is a bunch of people who don't necessarily care about the game because they know the stipulations that they're going to have to put into it are going to make it not as fun. And so they're not working on getting good staff for these games. They're basically just telling the old staff, hey, we can afford to pay you X amount. It's not going to be a good amount. You're not going to enjoy making this game. You know, or you can just leave the project. And people end up leaving projects over things like that. And so you can't really be mad, and it leads to the creation of studios like Summerfall. Like Summerfall Studios or Daggerfall, or I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but great studio. And then you get like the people that made the guy that left Dragon Age to go make Hollow Knight, and Hollow Knight was a fantastic game. And I'm not even a 2D gamer, and Hollow Knight was a good game. Hollow Knight's one of the best games to date. Like, The story's okay. It's like, it's almost like he took his revenge out from that segment of time. Thank you, Skeleton. Because Hollow Knight's basically like the big boss returns and the whole company is out of order, and he's gotta go through the company and figure out where everything gets wrong and puts it back together. And I think it's super underrated for what it is, because quite frankly, like, it's essentially what needs to happen in order to fix gaming. And he just wrote it into a script and made a video game about it, and that's how good that guy is at making video games. And we should all praise that guy for making such great video games for us to entertain us. But aside from that, I mean, you really can't be happy with the way AAA rated games have been going lately. I mean, there are good ones like Baldur's Gate from Larian, but like I said, Larian's crowdfunding, what are they? I forgot what they call that. Basically, the people funding it control the way the game is going to turn out. And so, companies knowing this, they can't do much other than obey regulations of the people that gave them the money. Otherwise, they're on the hook for no recovery for that loan. Like, they're just, oops, you know, they can't claim a loss. They can't say, oh, well, this is why it failed, you know. They just have to do it. And if it fails, it fails. And I think what people don't realize is they're like, oh, well, then they owe the banks all these money. But actually, they don't owe the banks all this money, because technically, BioWare owes EA money to use its licensing rights to say, oh, this is an EA game. And they owe them so much money to say that BioWare would never be in the green, technically speaking. And so BioWare will always claim a loss for that. And so, technically the way debts work is first come, first serve, which is why if you're on child support, you never have to pay back your student loans, but that's a completely different thing. And we'll get into that in a different episode, maybe later this episode. But, basically debts are first come, first serve, so if they owe a debt to EA for the title rights, or to some other company for basically title rights or licensing privileges or whatever they decide to negotiate for, that's just this fictitious thing that they're saying, oh, you can use this, but we own this intellectual property, but you can use the intellectual property as long as you pay us X amount of money. And so when you say, oh, you owe the bank money, they're going to go, well, actually, we owe EA money, and EA gets their money first. And then EA just says, oh, well, it's so much money, we're just going to have to sell off the studio and get rid of it. And then EA sells off the studio and gets rid of it. And there's not really much that the bank can do to collect what is left. So what happens is, what happens to all that money? Well, it's just an L. It's a loss. The banks just claim it as a loss. It came out of your pocket because you're the one storing money in the banks in order for them to be able to loan it out to these companies like this, for them to try to make things that generate revenue. And I think what we're seeing is a lot of businesses fleeing America, which is scary, because that means they're not responsible for American economy anymore. And so as we're branching down this line, I think some people listening will be able to tell, oh, this is why this is bad. Yes, this is why this is bad, because then you end up with a bunch of people who are sending money to places like Ukraine and Israel. And it has nothing to do with the people, but it has to do with what's available there. And so, like, we're funding bioweapons labs, which, even if you ignore the fact that those are violations of the Geneva Convention that we signed and created, you're still left with the fact that we are funding these things. And regardless of what we're funding, which we shouldn't be funding bioweapons tech, and we shouldn't be doing it inside of the United States either, at all. So if we're going to do it, they are doing it relatively properly. I forgot to set my spells. Damn, I can't beat that guy with soul arrows. I mean, probably could, but I think what a lot of people are just missing is the ability to follow the money. And you have to be able to follow the money. You just have to. If you can't follow the money, then, I mean, you can't tell who's in control or what they want you to think, and basically you end up with a lot of people like Bill Gates, who are like, hey, let me put this wax coating on your food. Make sure you rinse it before you eat their apples. And then nobody rinses it, and everybody gets sick, and they're like, oh, we told you. Or like Disney with their rights, where the one guy died at the park, and the family was going to sue for wrongful death, but they were not allowed to because he had signed up for Disney Plus. Right. So, I mean, it's not like these are great things, and these companies haven't been putting in good business practices, and we've been letting it slide for so long. And I think the money workarounds, they're always going to be there as long as you have some form of red tape, which is why we need to massively erase the red tape and just say, oh, as a company, you just need to pay this X amount of money, no forgiveness on taxes, whatever, like, unless you're reselling the product, it shouldn't be tax forgiveness. And you have to resell the product to receive that tax forgiveness. You can't say, oh, that's one of the ways we can fix this. And then stop bailing people out for losses. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people complain about my generation student loans and bailouts. But like, you're giving people they're gonna have to bail out BioWare for billions of dollars. Okay, make them pay their own loans back. Why are they not having to pay their own loans back? If you're sitting here yelling at people that have $20,000 in debt about, oh no, their education wasn't, you know, something that they can afford to use in a way that you think they should be able to use it. Like, one of the most wealthy guys I know has a has a degree in speech pathology. Okay, how many people do you know that could make use of that degree? Like, I looked at the options. Does he have? It's not about, oh, get a degree in something. Like, people just want to see that you have a degree. So that's one thing. But like, for you guys to say, to sit there and be like, oh, well, they should have to pay their own loans back, but you aren't saying, oh, EA and BioWare should have to pay their own loans back, even though they are very clearly borrowing the money, knowing that they're not going to pay it back. I mean, it just seems wrong to me. Hey, can you die? Thanks. Sorry, I didn't want to use one of those, and he just kept avoiding those shots. Oh, the key. Yes, the key to open all the doors. Let's just pop this, because I know we're going to get skeeted on our way around a corner. I don't think this opens this. Yeah, no, that one's still locked. But I think it's very important that we begin supporting companies that align with our interests as gamers, instead of supporting companies that maybe don't align with our interests. And I'm not saying, oh, you know, you have to play or you don't have to play this. I'm saying maybe we stop supporting games as gamers that are giving out hundreds of microtransactions, or like as Linus brought up in one good point, there's a lot of gambling per se in video games now. Like, you're buying different money so that you can spend it on the opportunity to get something. Like, you're not even guaranteed to get that certain skin you want or whatever, and you don't have to participate in that. You can spend extra money and not gamble, but the way that's actually represented is gambling. And I mean, from a very cut and clear perspective, a lot of games are made for kids and they have a ton of gambling in them, like an actual metric ton. So it's very hard to say, because like, you could have never imagined that, like you said, and say Ratchet and Clank 2. Like, they would have never been able to put that in Jak 3. Like, we have the little gambling things, like, maybe Borderlands 2, but, like, not in, like, the family-friendly games, which I think is another curve, because I think from Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3, people finally saw how games can curve. I don't even know, I forgot what I just got. Oh well, we'll remember eventually. It wasn't armor or a knife, was it? No. We do have the winged spear. That would be nice to use. That would also be nice to use. But... and it wouldn't... well, we do have armor. We could definitely equip the hollow people. We're already breaking 30%. Let's go. We have the full hollow set. I don't even think it's better. But we are the hollow mage soldier. Alright. But yeah, I think it's very important that we begin to say maybe only support people that where our interests are going to align, and we know they're going to align. Because it may not be worth the gaming industry as a whole is changing like pretty severely, even in just the last couple of years. And now maybe it hasn't been around forever by comparison, you know, per se, but oh, we need to leave. I mean, just the things that they're allowing nowadays in media, they wouldn't have allowed maybe so long ago. That's good. He's got a distance though. And I think we need to be careful what we're calling family friendly and non-family friendly now. I think we're so low right. Ooh. Very heavy gear. Very good gear. Is he really? Just gonna... Now, there is a summon, I believe, that helps you through this area. And she's got, like, Crystal Soul Spear, but... nah. But just the amount of money laundering that they're committing. And they're saying, oh, well, just get over it, basically. And that's essentially money we could be using to provide healthcare. Like, at this point, we're providing healthcare to other countries and not our own. And they're laundering enough money for healthcare, and they're just pissing it away on video games. Like, our parents used to yell at us wasting money on video games. Our fucking government has wasted more money on video games this year than any singular person in the world possibly could. I don't know how to put that into perspective for the older people more than we need free healthcare, and I don't necessarily agree with free education, but everybody should get some form of, like, okay, if you pass college, college is 30% paid by the government then. Like, instead of giving them a loan that says, oh, you know, blank check here, go piss away $45,000. And I think, don't get me wrong, I think it's very important that we pay for education for people. But I think it's also very important that they pay it back. So I think to say, oh, did you graduate? Were you in the top whatever percentage of your class? Okay, well, that's how much of your loan should be paid by the government. Then in the people that suck and don't pay attention in school, like, well, you know, that happened for a reason. Don't get mad at everybody else. Like, it is what it is, and I don't mean to sound like rude. And yeah, maybe you pick something that was really hard, but like maybe you don't waste money like that if it doesn't actually belong to you yet, you know? I think it's financial responsibility is a big one. I think a lot of people just don't have it. Financial responsibility is about as important as me whipping and weaving in my positioning to get to this fire, which I cannot rest at because there is a bunch of dudes just about to beat my head in. So once you get hit by those guys, they're basically true combos you do with boys. You can't get out of it. Your character's just like, for 3 seconds, and he can't roll or anything, but you can get hit, so you basically take your L. There isn't any way around that. Oh cool, my souls. That's a pretty good amount for early on as well. So it's imperative that we get those. Alright. The less people I have to avoid, the better. So we're just gonna roll this way. Oh, that's gonna hit me. Can you not? Alright. Now that we didn't die by a turtle. Quite yet. Oh man, I got away from the turtle. Thank God. The turtle is rough. Man, I bet a giant does rest in peace here. So this is basically when the giants fell, they became trees. And now you have the seeds of the giant trees, which, if someone invades you, you can crack one of those puppies out and absolutely use these guys that are in the world to body them with you. See, they think these people are on their side. You gotta show them that they're not. We're just gonna open this. Oh good, more people. Have a couple soul spears. Soul arrows, my bad. I don't have any soul spears yet. Unfortunately, because we could really use some. Another bastard sword. So something in this game they had enabled that wasn't in 3 was power stancing. Whereas basically if you have enough of the stats, you can wield 2 of them neck and neck of whatever you want. Like I said, the spacing, very important. Timing, very important. Much more important than how hard do I smack and how much health do I have. However, you can beat this game with the Yoga Dugas, so don't act like that's not a functional feature. This feels like a trap. That's because it is a trap. I'll just take my head. Thanks. I thought they fell after me. I was about to lose my mind. Anyway. Yeah. That's this area. But I think, what I was saying is I think Borderlands was the very beginning of the Loans projects saying, oh, they had a huge amount of projects that they were releasing at the same time as Borderlands 3, and how did they fund them all? The Loans. The Loans started to dictate, hey, you have to be a little more kid-friendly, you have to reach a wider audience, and that's not how you make a mature video game. I think what they missed a lot of is, in order to make said mature video game, you have to appeal to the mature fans, right? So fans don't want sing-along dialogue. I didn't want that at age 13. I was watching 1,000 Ways to Die, not which Disney princesses, you know, look pretty in these dresses. Like, I wasn't trying to listen to people bigger like children.
You do have a ton.
Like, I was handling things like, oh, do I need to go shovel the neighbor's driveway because they're too old to do it? And I was at like 13. Like,
Nothing suited you, I presume?
even, like, we would go out, I remember distinctly growing up, even prior to that age, there were several driveways we would go do for free, just because, I mean, ladies could. I mean, there was this lady that used to live next to us named Jan. Her husband built her house from the ground up. When he died, it was so large she couldn't take care of it. We shoveled her driveway every time that it snowed. And she would give us $20, and the lady across the street would make us brownies or cookies, and a ton of them. And I do mean a ton of them. Like, I'm talking like 60-something cookies, or like quite a few brownies. And so, we're not done. We still have more areas we have to expand to. But I think my point is, you can't make sing-along Disney games for audiences that are over 13 years of age. Like, even the 13-year-olds want to ask them what they want to play. You know what they want to play? GTA 5, GTA 6, Call of Duty. Like, I can remember at age, again, probably 12 or 13, where I'm getting absolutely destroyed by 7 or 8-year-olds in Call of Duty, and it's like my first time ever hearing of it is Modern Warfare 2. You know? And that really was just a character building experience, per se. Like, that's just, you know, getting into lobbies where actual free speech existed, and all you hear is the N-word at the top of your lungs 42 times a day. That was a character building experience. Like, the kids nowadays could never, like, they're willing to shoot each other in the bar over the N-word. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, how dirty things actually get. Like, there was a fight about something like that the other day, like a year ago, and what happened was, dude went outside and somebody cracked somebody's head with a pipe and anything. Anyway, long story short, anything can be used as a weapon. Maybe don't pick fights over words you don't like if you're not willing to die for it, because that's what could happen. And I think a lot of people get raised by single moms too, and they lose that aspect of threat until they grow older. And eventually everyone experiences that, you know, like that, oh crap, I could die if I start behaving wrong. I just don't think that happens to women all the time or until a much later age. Alright, we're gonna attempt this BS right here. Oh, wow. Yep, knife for the win. If I don't know where I'm running, you don't know where I'm running. But yeah, when you talk to guys as an older age, there's always this distinct, hey, watch what you say. There could be violence if they don't like it. And that's not always the case with women, even though you're prepared for violence more often, because I've been hit by more women in my life than men. I mean, you get them drunk and they're upset enough to start smacking. I mean, almost every time. And I don't necessarily say that's their fault either. Like, typically it's who raises you that determines what you turn out like. And so, like, I had pretty good parents. Okay, I had iframes, but I didn't have iframes, that's fine. I mean, we're right around the corner, we didn't lose a whole lot of souls. So we can go back in and do that again, but kind of bullshit right there. I definitely rolled, I definitely had iframes, and if you go back and watch them, you'll see that I was in the middle of an iframe when I took 2 hits. But it's Dark Souls. That's how Dark Souls works. And so, yeah. Okay. Well, if you don't complete that, apparently you can't get back in.
It allows
That's unfortunate. I don't think we can go back in and get our souls. Oh well. I want to show you one other area while we're over here. So back here is another seed to a giant tree. Don't even think about the surprise behind attacks. I don't like those. No diddy around here. Yeah, I think Borderlands 3, like, it got real childish real quick. Like, you still had character arcs in the pre-sequel, and a lot of people didn't like the pre-sequel because of character design, and that's very, very valid. Like, incredibly valid. But then a lot of people, they were like, oh, well, I love Borderlands 3, but then you could put a lot of time into farming Borderlands 3 because it's still aligned with what Borderlands was. And is. But, like, I think it becomes more apparent if you play things like Tiny Tina's or variations of other things. Okay. Can you, like, not stand there? No. He just wants the surprise attack. It is what it is. Alright, well, we barely made it out of that one. I don't know why I healed, because we're portaling. But yeah, I think we're going to have to watch where our games come from, where they're funded from. And if you go back and watch, you can tell that the character creation in Borderlands 3, while I think the skill trees were where they were at, and the lore was on point, I think the voice acting was subpar, even in like that first mission where Lilith is like, nah, like you could tell it was fake. It was just so fake, like you couldn't even make it out of the fucking tutorial without being like, ew, cringe. I couldn't, at least. And I think that's where it started, with the AAA games getting loans and having to meet requirements, and then it just went downhill from there, because the way things progressed, it was like, hey, we need you to meet more requirements, and more requirements, and more requirements. And just they started hammering, like, Zuckerberg talks about it on a Joe Rogan podcast he did recently. And he basically comes out and he's like, oh, we were getting huge pressure from the US government to censor these things, or include this, or promote this speech, but not allow this kind.
I came from the West. Have you been? Very. But, what's up? Have you? A group calling? Well, I do hope I see you again.
Me too, bud. Me too. I gotta spend like 10 grand with him, I think. Is the spells guy here yet? I could really use the spells guy. But yeah, I think we're gonna need to watch where our games are coming from in the near future.
Oh, you've met, of course. Did you? But it's something.
What's essential? Dude, I'm so hot right now. This PC runs so
It's
warm.
something-
And it's not like an AMD or
It
Intel
was
thing. This is a both PCs, so with the new generation of CPUs that came out, I think they were so used to people overclocking and breaking the chips that they decided, hey, what if they just decide to run the chips hot out of factory, and then people will be so uncomfortable with the temperatures that they run at that they'll decide, oh, well, we're just gonna shrink that down a bit, and they undervolt things instead, which is exactly what's happening. And I think it backfired for Intel with their 13th and 14th gens, because they're basically setting themselves on fire. But AMD is doing fantastically well with it. Yeah, I didn't think I had another one. But we can level twice. Alright. Probably that. Yeah, we want to get to 1,000 health. 1,000 health is really baseline for these games. What's this way? Oh right, Neverland grass is key. Hey bud, can you make things for me?
Bring me that.
Just make me stuff, please. We'll take a chest to chest. I'll never say no to touching a chest, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I will have to see you guys in the next one. We did a splice that was 20 minutes and we're touching 38, so it looks like we're approaching an hour. And that's how long I want to make these episodes. So we're gonna tune out and I will see you guys in the next one.